E fala galera, beleza? Roxferyon voltando com Vampyr. Jonathan, o vampirão da meia-noite, véi. Tá tenso aqui, hein? Os caça-vampiro resolveram dar uma entrada aqui e bagunçar as coisas. Então meio que...
It's locked, all right. It's locked, all right.
Arrebentaram as portas. Deram uma mexida no cenário, eu acho.
Those bastards. What have they done to Edgar? Looks like he's wounded. I better follow the blood.
Mas vamos olhar aqui primeiro o que ele deixou. Será que ele deixou alguma coisa pra trás? A galera fuçou legal aqui. Tá, vamos seguir a trilha.
McCullum and his thugs are taking the credit for Edgar's abduction. They really mean business.
É, de fato. Enxaqueca é...
Ultraviolet curtains and orichalcum powder. Dr. Swansea's always been a resourceful bastard. I bet he never told you he had this installed in case of a vampire attack. Says a lot about how much he trusts you.
What have you done with Edgar?
Don't worry. We don't kill humans. Even if your friend is deserving of a little punishment for what.
What are you talking about?
We know everything. Swansea and you created this bloody epidemic. You aim to unleash another disaster, just like William Marshall did.
No, I'm trying to put an end to it, just like you are.
You're the progeny, aren't you? Where is the monster hiding? It's still in England, isn't it?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Jeffrey, please listen to me.
No tricks. That shit won't work on me. We've found proof in the theater. Doris Fletcher was your first experiment. Now where is Marshall? Speak! So much for modern technology. Time for the tried and true. Do you know what this is, Beast? This is a drop of King Arthur's blood. The blood of a true defender of Britain. Stronger than your evil powers.
This is ridiculous. We're losing precious time.
True enough. Soon I'll bring your head before your coward of a father. Come on. True light will cleanse you. Your poisonous bite is useless on me. We are the guardian of justice. Priwen shall prevail.
You can't accept the fact we're not enemies, can you?
We always have been, and we always will be. Of all the evils that threaten mankind, your kind are the worst.
I'm not saying we could be friends, you and I. But perhaps we could collaborate to put an end to this epidemic.
Never! We are Priwen. We do not negotiate. We do not compromise.
There is no way you'll ever let me be, McCollum. You'll always hunt me down, won't you?
There is no escape, Leech. Kill me now. For there is no way you can sway me to your ideals.
That's where you're mistaken.
What do you mean?
Cara. Foda, hein? Poupar ou transformar? Cara, então não tem nenhum vampiro, né, velho?
I'll make you a vampire. I'll make you one of us.
No! Kill me!
Prepare yourself, Hunter. You're about to be hunted, just like me.
No! No!
When I kissed my goodbye, I had no idea what I was doing. But now I do. Consider this my kiss of Judas. Welcome to the world through the looking glass.
Eu tô tendo quase certeza de que eu só tô fazendo escolha bosta.
So Priwen never left Doris's theater after they invaded. They must be holding Edgar here in their new headquarters.
Relatório de McCallum. Acabei de ler o diário de Doris Fletcher, por mais doloroso e assustador que isso tenha sido. Céus, a mulher planejou despejar a desgraça sobre todas as pessoas de Londres, infectando todos os que fossem assistir a suas peças. Isso me ajudou a entender melhor o que está acontecendo. O nome verdadeiro de Doris Fletcher era Doris Jones, filha de Harry Jones, que é paciente do hospital Pembroke. Há muito tempo, ela claramente odiava a mãe, mas usava a fama e a notoriedade para vê-la quando visitava os pobres e doentes em Westway. Não sei o que exatamente aconteceu, mas foi assim que a mãe dela infectou antes de retornar ao teatro. E agora ela se transformou naquela monstruosidade que o sanguessuga conhecido como Jonathan Reid finalmente derrotou. A presença daquele vampiro no mesmo hospital onde Harry Jones foi tratado não pode ser uma coincidência. Estou convencido de que está envolvido até o pescoço com a praga vampírica presente em Londres. Também estou convencido de que Swansea é cúmplice dele e que os dois estão planejando algo mais aterrorizante do que qualquer coisa que Guarda já enfrentou. Talvez seja melhor ter alguns livros, manuscritos antigos que a Guarda ainda possua para conseguir algumas respostas. Por ser útil, enquanto isso é melhor enviar algumas patrulhas para investigar o que está acontecendo no Hospital Pembroke. Levei 2 dias para analisar os registros e livros empoeirados que deixamos guardados no cofre. Céus, como odeio perder tempo, mas a busca ao menos se mostrou proveitosa. Encontrei 2 páginas que podem estar relacionadas à nossa situação atual em uma cópia de memórias de William Marshall. Levei-as comigo para lê-las com mais atenção. Essa criatura que Marshall alega ter enfrentado em 1666, essa calamidade que queria destruir Londres, é bastante parecida com o que aconteceu com Doris Fletcher. Doença, infecção, ódio dos vivos, um desejo de ver a cidade saqueada. Não tenho dúvida de que o velho sanguessuga William Marshall voltou e está por trás de tudo isso. Essa pode ser a nossa maior conquista se a Guarda puder finalmente encontrar e destruir esse desgraçado. Acredito que Reid esteja tentando fazer exatamente o que Marshall fez em 1666. Será que a criatura, a calamidade, está fora de controle deles? Foi por isso que Marshall a destruiu? E Reid fez o mesmo com Doris Fletcher antes de ela se tornar a tal criatura? Não sei, mas é óbvio que aqueles dois estão trabalhando juntos e Swansea os está ajudando. Ordenarei que ele seja preso e interrogado imediatamente. Quanto a Reid, destruí aquela fera maligna com as minhas próprias mãos. Depois daremos um jeito em William Marshall, nessa tal de calamidade, por improvisar.
Doris Fletcher was about to become a disaster. I'm getting close to having all the evidence.
Ah, agora sim. Posso abrir essa porta. Tá. Assim.
It's locked. It's locked, all right.
Memórias de William Marshall. A Irmandade de História de São Paulo finalmente concordou em nos reunirmos em Londres. Eles propuseram um encontro dentro da nova Catedral de São Paulo. Doce a perspicácia da solenidade desses homens. Escolheram o local onde derrotei a calamidade, mas também o local de minha queda. É um símbolo notável, concordei com a proposta. Lá no silêncio sagrado da igreja, sob os olhos de Deus, eles me ouviram com respeito. Eles reconheceram minha vitória sobre essa criatura maligna, o desastro, o devorador de estrelas. Desejava apenas espalhar morte e desgraça por toda parte. Desde que reconheceram minha força e vontade para salvar Londres, eles atenderam ao meu pedido plungente de deter o sangue maldito. O primaz prometeu retornar com uma resposta. O primaz de São Paulo respondeu-me apenas com o nome, Lágrima dos Anjos. De acordo com eles, este artefato antigo pode curar qualquer coisa, purificar qualquer alma enegrecida e limpar meu sangue. Bendito seja Deus, procurei uma cura para o sangue maldito por quase 100 anos, mas é possível que finalmente eu tenha encontrado. Logo a raiva acabará. Logo meus erros serão redimidos e minhas falhas serão corrigidas. Agora tudo o que preciso fazer é localizar os ingredientes necessários para criar o artefato. O sangue das criaturas mais puras misturados com o sangue de um rei. Encontrar ingredientes tão raros não é o que mais me preocupa, pois o tempo está a meu favor. O que me preocupa é o último ingrediente, a essência pura de alho. Meu medo é agonizar de odor ao beber o antídoto, mas se esse for o preço para limpar minha alma e corrigir meus erros, estou pronto para sentir uma dor insuportável para apagá-lo.
Blood of a pure heart, garlic, blood of a king. I don't understand. Perhaps this is what McCullum drank. I had better keep that in mind.
Edgar. Edgar, can you hear me?
Jonathan, is it really you?
Easy. Easy. Save your strength. I'm getting you out of here.
Don't try to spare me. As a physician, I know all too well when it's too late. Punctured lung, broken ribs, and internal bleeding. An accurate diagnosis, wouldn't you say?
Edgar, what happened?
They wanted me to confess. Beat me black and blue.
Jeffrey McCullum ambushed me at the Pembroke Hospital. He was convinced you and I were responsible for the Skal epidemic.
I never imagined that self-righteous fanatic would dare to attack us in the open. What became of him?
I put him in a somewhat delicate position when I made him an immortal.
Really? You sure that was the wisest course of action?
Time will tell. The most intriguing part of his accusation was that you and I were the pawns of some ancient vampire.
William Marshall. Yes, they tortured me to make me confess the same nonsense.
I think you're hiding something, Edgar.
What do you mean?
William Marshall, for example. You speak of him as if you know him. How is that?
Jonathan, I cannot say I'm ready for another round of questions.
What can you tell me about William Marshall?
Not much. History paints the story he was the greatest knight who ever lived. Amongst the immortals, he had a yet greater legend.
Why is the Guard of Priwen so obsessed with him?
He was the only ancient vampire to escape the first great hunt launched by the Guard of Priwen in 1854. They believe he's an evil creature plotting his return.
Why would he deserve such a reputation?
I cannot say. The Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole has next to no intelligence on him. All I know is that he's supposed to be the oldest of all the British vampires.
Why would the Guard of Priwen believe you and I created the vampire epidemic?
Maybe due to our profession. Because I offered you shelter in my hospital.
While investigating the epidemic, I read some of McCullum's findings. I think you have some explaining to do.
I have nothing to hide, Jonathan. Nothing at all.
Do you remember when we suspected Sean Hampton of killing Harriet Jones?
Yes. The terrible episode that came as a shock to us all.
Harriet Jones faked her own death. When I found her in the sewers, she confessed she wanted everybody to pay for what happened to her.
That woman was extremely bitter, full of hatred and festering anger.
Do you know Doris Fletcher's real name?
No, I'm afraid not.
Her real name was Doris Jones. She was the daughter of Harriet Jones.
What do you want me to say, Jonathan?
Doris Fletcher visited her mother at the Pembroke Hospital. That's how she first got infected.
I know nothing about that. Miss Fletcher once came to visit the sick. That is all I know.
No, Edgar, there is more. Doris Fletcher was Harriet Jones's daughter. They exhibited the same symptoms: blind hate and strong physical mutation.
What does this sad story have to do with us?
Come on, Edgar. Don't you see the pattern here? The epidemic, the link between Doris and Harriet, the suspicion of McCullum?
How could I? I never saw Harriet Jones again after she fled the hospital.
Do you know where we are? Doris Fletcher's theater. This is where that hateful creature plotted to spread the epidemic across London.
I only briefly met Miss Fletcher once when she visited the Pembroke Hospital. You say it was to see her mother. She seemed like such a sweet and graceful woman.
My point exactly. The disease turned her into a bitter soul, driven by vengeance just like her mother. A symptom of all the infected patients.
Certain diseases are known to produce similar effects. Rabies, for example. And rabies is not the devil at work.
Doris and Harriet shared more than a hidden family bond. They were the embodiment of the epidemic and are linked to the Pembroke Hospital. Come on, Edgar, this is no coincidence.
I swear I'm at a complete loss. All I did was administer vampire blood to cure old Harriet. There was no evil plan, no diabolical plot.
You did what?
I tested the regenerating and healing properties of vampire blood on Harriet Jones. My only intention was to find the cure for influenza, I swear.
Whose blood did you use? William Marshall's? Mine?
Lady Ashbury's. While transfusing her with human blood, humanely appeasing her hunger, I also kept samples of her blood for my research.
You used her blood on Harriet Jones? My God, Edgar, that's unethical. You betrayed 2 of your patients at the same time.
Right, I admit it. I boldly ventured into experimental realms, but I've killed no one to appease my thirst for knowledge, Jonathan. I'm no murderer.
I never asked to become what I am, Edgar. You chose to conduct your rogue experiments.
You have worked beside me. You saw what I'm doing at Pembroke Hospital. Jonathan, you know I'm not an evil soul. Just another victim of this tragedy.
No, Edgar, you are not going to die. Unless you want to.
What do you mean?
I can save you, Edgar. I can turn your broken body into one like mine.
You truly would? After all I've done, after all that's been said, you would offer me this gift?
I have no way of knowing which punishment would be worse, Edgar. But it is not for me to decide. So?
Oh, please, Jonathan, please. I beg you. This is what I've always wanted. This is what I've always searched for.
Very well, then. Prepare to die and be reborn. To face an eternity of guilt.
I'm ready. Oh, indeed, I am ready.
Enough!
Uma pista dele fracassou. Que merda, viado. Quer dizer que o correto era deixar ele morrer? Para não perder a pista?
What good fortune brings you back to me, Jonathan? What is it, my dear?
I'm afraid it's bad news, Elizabeth. The worst, actually.
Please, speak up.
Edgar is no longer in McCullum's grasp. I resolved that matter.
Where is our good friend now? Is he well?
Of a sort. His injuries were mortal. I had no choice but to make him one of us. To save him. Or to punish him.
To punish him? I fail to understand. And what is the source of this cold tone in your voice?
Edgar Swansea was responsible for the Skull epidemic, Elizabeth. It was he who unleashed the deadly scourge upon London.
What? Are you certain? This is the most terrible accusation of all.
He confessed everything to me. He sought to cure the disease, to exploit vampire blood to stop the epidemic. But he unwittingly gave birth to a catastrophe.
All those poor victims. How could he do it? What happened?
Edgar's behavior was beyond lunacy. He had neither the discipline, knowledge, nor the proper facilities to conduct blood experiments.
I must say I'm shocked, Jonathan. Who would have thought it? And the poor patient. Let me guess. It was Harriet Jones, was it not?
Yes. That explains how Doris Fletcher was infected, and how she became an Ichor. She secretly visited her mother at Pembroke.
Then we have no choice. We must act quickly, Jonathan. We must return to the sewers and put an end to the threat poor Harriet embodies.
I have one more matter to discuss with you. Harriet Jones was the primary case, but do you know what a healthy carrier is?
There is a tone in your voice that frightens me, Jonathan. What are you trying to say?
It was your blood Edgar used for his experiment on Harriet Jones.
What? No. No. This can't be. Oh, God.
Elizabeth, are you all right?
No, I have to go.
What do you mean?
Leave me alone. Save the city, Jonathan. Save what can be saved.
Elizabeth, I need answers. Why did your blood
Stay
cause
away
this?
from me. Please. I swear I never was your enemy.
Wait! No! Elizabeth!
Os habitantes de Londres vivem com medo de médicos, intervenções tardias, favoritismo descarado e tratamentos experimentais. O problema deles são mais fundos do que isso. A escassez de profissionalistas se cristaliza no Hospital Pembroke, em Whitechapel, onde a deontologia foi descartada há muito tempo. A administração do Pembroke exibe uma fachada de dedicação e idoneidade, mas aqueles que nós conheceram os pacientes, ou pior, foram um deles, sabem bem o que há por trás das faces. Neste templo em que honra o pavor, você paga para conseguir um leito, pega doenças que nem sabia que existia e todas as outras posses serão levadas quando seu corpo for para o necrotério. Aqui, pacientes morrem durante a noite de feridas que não tinham quando chegaram. Para eles, são acidentes. Tentamos entrevistar Dr. Swansea, a chefe da administração, e ouvimos um pedante. Timor mortis contra o barulho. O medo da morte me surpreende, antes de sermos retirados à força do local. Frases em latim que não serão suficientes para nos manter afastados de toda aquela morbidez. Peço que voluntários se juntem a mim na manhã de amanhã, em frente ao hospital, para exigir fatos claros sobre o estado da instituição médica. Tragam quem puderem. Vixe, vai dar muito ruim. Já era hostil antes, agora então. Crítico. Pra quem saiu matando quase todos os pilares, lucrou até bem. Eu ainda tô devendo XP, vamos lá falar com o Dr. Swansea. Falei que estava aqui.
Jonathan, my dear, I can never thank you enough.
Thank me? For what?
Come now, you know what I mean. I am Well, I'm just like you.
I'm glad you like it.
How could I not be happy? You offered me the ultimate freedom. More than I ever could have dreamt of.
Will you continue as Pembroke's administrator?
Of course. I can help more than ever. And since I'm already dead, I can't get sick.
Are you not afraid Priwen will find you? Next time, they will do more than abduct and torture you.
I remain a man of peace. If things were to go awry, I would flee rather than slice them up as you would, my friend.
Have you seen Elizabeth? Has she passed this way since you returned?
No. And I'm terrified to see her again. I really am, Jonathan. She could very well tear me to pieces for what I did.
What will you do now that you are immortal?
Experiment, my dear colleague. I have an eternity to make scientific progress. I could be the only scientist able to undertake extreme experiments upon himself.
What kind of experiments?
Who knows? Nervous shock, brain damage, pain and recovery. There's almost no limit to what my body can now endure. I could be the next Henry Head.
My God, Edgar. Did you learn nothing from your forays into folly?
I have, I swear. No more experiments on mortals. See? I said mortals. How quickly the mind adapts.
Esse cara é doido.
How do you feel since you changed?
Absolutely fine. Did you know I can determine the health of every patient or nurse just by looking at him? Fascinating.
Have you taken a life yet, Edgar?
Don't you think that's a private matter? I would not ask you such an indiscreet question.
Do you feel the hunger?
Yes. It's very peculiar, not like mortal hunger at all. It's like I'm never sated. Fortunately, blood is no rare commodity at Pembroke.
Criei monstro.
Have you news of Geoffrey McCullum? I'm sure both of you would have quite an interesting discussion after recent events.
He left the hospital without being treated for the severe beating you gave him. We'll meet again soon enough.
Does not the prospect of meeting him as a vampire thrill you? The two old enemies reunited post-mortem.
Maybe we could even share a glass of wine. I really don't know if he will accept his condition. He has spent his life beheading leeches, you know.
Goodbye, Edgar. I'm certain we'll meet again.
Caramba, 35.
Turn around. Die, fool!
There it is. Insulin. Much more efficient than garlic against blood poisoning and sepsis, and much less dangerous for me. Thank you, Dr. Polescu.
I know I can count on you. I wish I could say the same for the others.
You look exhausted.
Good evening, Dr.
Dr. Reed.
How are things now?
Dr. Swansea seems changed.
Changed how?
I don't know. Happier? No, it's not that. More serene.
Is that a good thing?
Yes. It's like he finally found his true self.
Kokorin, I want you to tell me about Mr. Connor. How did he die? What happened?
He was my patient. He died because of my mistake. That's the blunt truth.
Who was this patient?
I don't know. Some sick man from the docks, maybe a fisherman. I had no time to talk with him. No one claimed a body.
What was the nature of the mistake?
It was a twofold error. My diagnosis was wrong, and the administered dosage was too strong.
Why not stop practicing?
Are you mad? I killed that man, I admit it, and it won't happen again. I have saved so many lives since then.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, nurse.
Good evening.
Is everything...
The
Tell me what Dr. Tippett did. I know his mistake caused a patient's death.
If I had not covered up his error, Dr. Tippett would have been fired from this hospital. I could not let that happen.
You can't allow your emotions to dictate your conduct concerning patients, Nurse Brannigan.
Look around you, Dr. Reed. Do you really think we can afford to lose a brilliant practitioner like Dr. Tippett in our situation?
Perhaps you did it with the best intentions, Nurse Brannigan, but you took a great risk. Must I remind you that a man died?
You mean you've never made a mistake? Never covered your tracks? Come on, Doctor. I wasn't born yesterday.
I've decided that I won't reveal Dr. Tippett's, shall we say, misdemeanor.
I'm so glad you share my point of view. Dr. Tippett is a brilliant practitioner. We most definitely need his know-how.
I hope you're right. This is a huge risk we're taking.
Dr. Tippett must regain his confidence. Please, keep this decision between you and me. He doesn't need to know you've found out.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
It's safer here than anywhere else in the East End.
Yes?
Goodbye, Ek.